Imagine a city built from nothing backed by billions of dollars, designed to be the future. Wide roads. Glass towers. Smart infrastructure. A place meant to attract investors, families, and global attention. This wasn't a fantasy. It was real. And it cost over $8 billion to build. At launch, the vision was bold. A modern hub where technology, business, and luxury living would come together. Developers promised jobs, innovation, and a lifestyle that rivaled the world's most advanced cities. Early investors rushed in. Governments showed support. The marketing was everywhere. On paper, everything made sense. The location was strategic. The design was world-class. The funding seemed solid. It looked like the kind of place people would fight to move into. But here's the part nobody expected: the people never came today. This massive development sits almost completely empty. Streets without traffic. Buildings without tenants. Entire neighborhoods without life. It's not abandoned in the traditional sense. It's finished, polished, and still empty. So what happened? How does a project with billions behind it fail to attract even a fraction of its expected population? That's the mystery we're unpacking today. Because this isn't just about one ghost town. It's about how ambition, money, and reality don't always line up. And when they don't, the results can be staggering. Construction started fast. Really fast. Within a few years, land that was once untouched transformed into a structured, modern city. Roads were paved before residents even existed. High-rise buildings went up in record time. Utilities, lighting, transport systems, all put in place ahead of demand. That was the strategy: build first. Fill later. Developers believed that if the infrastructure was strong enough, people would naturally follow. It's a model that has worked before in smaller projects. But scaling it to an $8 billion city, that's where things got risky. NTHE design itself wasn't the problem. In fact, it was impressive. Clean layouts. Organized districts. Residential zones separated from business hubs. Even green spaces were included to make it livable from above. It looked like a thriving city already in motion, but on the ground, it told a different story. Most of the buildings remained unsold. Businesses hesitated to move in without customers. And potential residents started asking one simple question: why would I live here? There were no established communities. No schools with history. No culture yet. Just empty structures waiting for life. The developers had built the body of a city, but not its soul. And without that, even the best designs can feel hollow at first. The silence wasn't obvious. A few early buyers moved in. Some offices opened. There were signs of life, just enough to suggest things were on track. But beneath the surface, cracks were already forming. Property prices were too high for most locals. Investors, who were expected to rent out or resell, held back when demand didn't rise. Units sat empty longer than planned. Then came the slowdown. Businesses began pulling out or delaying plans. Without foot traffic, shops couldn't survive. Without shops, the area became even less attractive to residents. It turned into a loop that fed itself. Empty buildings led to fewer people. Fewer people led to even more empty buildings. Infrastructure that was meant to support thousands ended up serving barely anyone. Streetlights illuminated roads with no cars. Elevators ran in towers with no occupants. Entire blocks remained untouched, and slowly, the narrative shifted. What was once called a future city started being labeled something else: a ghost town, not because it failed completely, but because it never truly began. That's what makes this case different. It's not ruins. It's not decay. It's something stranger. It's a place that looks finished, but never came alive. So why did this happen? It wasn't just one mistake. It was a mix of timing, assumptions, and overconfidence. First, demand was overestimated. Developers assumed that people would relocate simply because the infrastructure was good. But people don't move just for buildings. They move for opportunity, community, and convenience. Second, pricing played a huge role. Many units were marketed toward high-income buyers or investors, not everyday residents. That created a gap. The people who needed housing couldn't afford it, and the people who could afford it didn't need to live there. Third, location mattered more than expected. Even with great design, if a place feels disconnected from economic centers or daily life, people hesitate. And then there's the biggest factor of all: momentum. Cities grow over time. They build layers. History, culture, habits. You can't manufacture that overnight, no matter how much money you spend. This project tried to skip that process. Instead of growing naturally, it was built all at once. And when people didn't immediately fill it, the whole system stalled. Because a city isn't just infrastructure. It's people, and without them, even $8 billion can't create life. But here's the surprising part. It's not completely empty. A small number of people actually live there. And their experience is unusual. Imagine waking up in a modern apartment, stepping outside, and seeing almost no one. No crowded streets. No noise. Just silence. Clean, organized, and strangely calm. For some, that's peaceful. For others, it's unsettling. Basic services can be limited. Shops may be far apart or closed. Public spaces feel oversized for the number of people using them. At night, entire sections go dark. It feels like living in a city that hasn't started yet. Some residents say they moved in for lower prices or investment opportunities. Others believed growth would come eventually. A few simply prefer the quiet, but most agree on one thing: it doesn't feel like a real city, not yet, and that's the challenge. Because once a place gets labeled as empty, it becomes harder to attract new people. Perception matters. If people think no one lives there, they're less likely to move in themselves. It becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. So is this the end of the story? Not necessarily. Cities like this don't always stay empty forever. Some eventually fill up as prices drop, infrastructure connects better, or nearby areas grow. Time can fix what planning couldn't. But it takes patience. And often, a shift in strategy. Developers may need to lower costs, attract businesses first, or create incentives for people to move in. Governments might step in to support growth or relocate services there. The foundation is already built. That's the advantage. The question is whether life will catch up to it. Because right now, this place stands as a reminder of something important: money can build structures. It can design roads, towers, and entire skylines. But it can't guarantee people will come. And without people, even the most expensive city in the world can feel empty. A ghost town, hiding in plain sight. If you found this story interesting, there are more like it. Places that were meant to change the future, but ended up as lessons instead. And sometimes, those lessons are worth more than the billions spent building them.